Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. Before we unpack this really crucial topic that's been dominating the rugby world, this whole thing with the Springboks and the referees, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you won't want to miss an analysis. Today, we are just immersing ourselves in a fascinating stack of sources, all centered on the Springboks coach, Rassie Erasmus, and his very direct critique of modern refereeing.
And it's so compelling, isn't it? Because this isn't, a losing team complaining.
Not at all.
The Springboks are winning. They're getting these huge victories, but those wins are coming at a palpable cost, both technically and emotionally.
But that's our mission today.
Yeah, our mission is to get past the headlines and really look at Rassie's core arguments. We're talking about inconsistency, the problems for tall players, and what he calls the human toll.
And the big question is this a coaching issue, or are the tackle laws themselves just putting players in, an impossible position?
Okay, let's jump right in and ground ourselves in the facts.
Let's do it. We are talking about two massive Northern Hemisphere tour matches, back-to-back.
And in both matches, one of their lock forwards, the absolute backbone of their system, gets sent off.
It's a pattern, and it's one that really needs a deep look.
Precisely. So the first incident, that was Lood de Jager, sent off against France the weekend before.
A tough call.
A really tough call. But the Boats, they just showed that classic grit, didn't they? They played for nearly an hour with 14 men.
And still won, 32-17, an incredible result.
And then you think, okay, lightning can't strike twice.
But it did. The very next week against Italy in Torino, only this time it was even earlier.
Franco Mostert, red card in the 12th minute.
Unbelievable. And again, they grind out the win, 32-14. It just shows this incredible resilience.
It's fascinating because they showed so much character. Immense mental toughness.
Right.
They essentially played 2 full matches a man down and still got these comprehensive wins. Their whole structure, their ability to adapt, it's just a testament to their coaching.
But those victories, they almost mask the real problem, don't they?
They do. They amplify Rassie's frustration.
His core complaint is so simple, but so profound. He said he's struggling to make sense of losing, and I quote, 2 5 locks in 2 games.
And when the technical director of a world champion team says he's struggling to make sense of it,
yeah,
then you know the problem is likely structural, not just, a discipline issue.
Absolutely. And this raises a huge question, not just for the sport, but for you, the listener. If these laws are confusing Rassie Erasmus, the brain's trust behind one of the most successful teams in years, how on earth is the average spectator meant to understand it?
Or the referees making these split-second calls.
Yeah.
The complexity is reaching a breaking point.
Okay, so let's pivot to what he sees as the root of this, the actual coaching challenge.
Yes, for his massive players.
We have to look at the practical reality of applying these laws to men who are, 6'7" or taller.
Rassie really detailed what we can call the tall player dilemma. He was genuinely frustrated. He said, we don't know how to coach guys differently to go lower. And that's where you have to get into the physics of the game, not just the rule book.
Explain that, because on the surface, go lower sounds like a simple instruction. Rassie's saying it's basically a physical impossibility.
Well, it really comes down to center of gravity and momentum.
Okay.
A player who's 2.06 meters, that's over 6'9", their center of gravity is way higher than a normal-sized player.
Sure.
So when they're running at speed, they have so much more momentum. To make a legal tackle, they have to slow down and drop their entire body mass incredibly quickly.
And he had a specific example, didn't he?
He did. He said it's physically impossible for a player that size to go lower than a guy on his knee.
And that's the key part. When the ball carrier dips or sinks into contact.
Which they're all coached to do. It's how you gain those extra inches.
Right. And when they do that, the space between the tackler's shoulder and the ball carrier's head just vanishes instantly.
And for that tall player, that small movement from the opponent immediately puts their shoulder in the red card zone.
So a tackle that starts out perfectly legal, aimed at the chest, can become a red card in the last half second.
And the tackler can't do anything about it. He's reactive. He can't change his physics midair.
Which creates an almost uncoachable situation.
Exactly. And look, the intention of the law is good. Player safety is, of course, non-negotiable.
Of course.
But the way it's being applied just doesn't seem to account for the geometry of contact between players of such different heights.
So let me ask the counter question then. What's World Rugby's argument for keeping the laws so strict, regardless of a player's height?
And that is the crucial balancing act here. World Rugby's mandate is simple. prevent catastrophic head injuries, period.
Right.
They would argue that if the geometry is difficult, then the coach needs to change the technique, not the law. Maybe tall players have to lead with their arms and wrap, not use the shoulder.
But that would completely change the game of rugby.
It weakens the entire defensive structure, which is built on stopping momentum with powerful, coordinated shoulder tackles.
So it's safety versus coachability.
And that leads directly into Rassie's second big point, consistency. He was very careful to say he wasn't necessarily arguing that the red cards were wrong calls in isolation.
He's not fighting that specific battle.
No, he's making a much broader point about the overall balance of how head contact is assessed throughout a match.
He was basically saying, if you're going to scrutinize us this heavily, then you need to apply that same level of forensic intensity to every other marginal contact.
Precisely. He said he definitely saw a lot of other shots in the game that, warranted a closer look, but were just missed.
And slow motion replay makes everything look worse.
So much worse.
Yeah.
A potential red card is analyzed for minutes, but similar incidents that happen in the run of play just get forgotten.
He even gave a specific example, didn't he, to show that double standard.
He did. He mentioned that his own captain, Kolisi, his first tackle of the game was right against the head. And his point was that the balance just wasn't equal. It feels like he's just pleading for the same rules to be applied to everyone all the time.
It's such a fascinating point. He's not just, yelling about a bad call. He's pointing out a systemic imbalance in how the law is being applied.
And that inconsistency, it just kills player confidence. It confuses the spectators. It makes the whole thing feel like a lottery.
That tension, between safety and coachability and this feeling of inconsistency, that's exactly what we love to dissect here. And if you are enjoying this deep dive, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession for more analysis just like this. What do you think about the struggle for tall players? Should the law change, or does the technique just have to adapt? Okay, let's move on from the technical side of things, because we need to talk about the part of his commentary that really stood out, the human toll.
Yeah, this is where the emotional impact on the players themselves really comes through.
You can bank the points from the win, but the experience for some of those players is it's tarnished.
And you can see Rassie is really focused on protecting his squad's well-being.
He used Siya Kolisi as the prime example, the captain, forced to be the sacrificial lamb twice in a week. Because when the team goes down to 14 men, you have to make these painful tactical reshuffles.
And for a captain, that's incredibly tough. It's not just inspirational leadership, it's tactical.
Imagine going through that in your 100th game and then again the next week, all because of a call.
It's training.
Yeah.
Psychologically, physically, it strains the whole team when your captain has to shoulder the consequence like that.
And it gets even worse when you look at the impact on the newcomers.
You're talking about Ben-Jason Dixon.
Exactly. A young guy making his debut, he gets subbed off in the 14th minute.
Almost immediately.
All because of the reshuffle needed for Mostert's red card.
And Rassie was visibly moved by that. It was very clear that, Dixon had to suffer for a big moment. He said the ruling, whatever it was, doesn't take the hurt away from that player whose debut was just cut short.
And that single detail, for me, it just shifts the whole conversation.
It does.
It stops being about points on a scoreboard and starts being about protecting the experience and the morale of professional athletes.
Exactly. His focus is less on overturning the result and more on protecting the players who bear the brunt of these complex technical rules. He's playing the long game here. He is, once again, the ultimate player protector.
So despite all of this, all the frustration, the overall message from the camp is still surprisingly really positive.
Absolutely. Rassie made a point of saying, we're happy with the character. He said they're a very proud team in how they try to avoid head contact.
He even mentioned their technique, the low chops they practice constantly.
Yeah, they're clearly committed to safety, but they're just demanding a clearer set of standards, one that recognizes the reality for their taller players.
And now they carry all of this into Dublin for what is probably their biggest test of the tour.
That's right. They meet Ireland this coming Saturday, November 22nd, at the Aviva Stadium. Kickoff is 19.40 local time.
After 2 weeks of winning with 14 men, that match against a super organized Irish side is going to be the ultimate test of that resilience.
And you can be sure the entire world will be watching to see if anything changes.
The stage is definitely set for a massive clash. So, as we look forward to that Ireland match, what stands out to you about this whole situation? We really encourage you to share your thoughts on the current tackle laws with us. Do you side with Rassie on the tall player dilemma, or do you think safety has to come first no matter what?
It's such a crucial conversation to have right now. The rules are for safety, but their effect on the professional game is just causing so much confusion.
Okay, let's unpack this one last time as we wrap up.
Yeah,
Rassie Erasmus is struggling to coach 2-meter players to follow laws that feel inherently inconsistent.
especially when they're tackling players who are dynamically changing their height.
The wins show unbelievable resilience from the Boks, but the human toll.
On players like Kolisi and the debutant Dixon, that's the real cost he's fighting against.
It's a profound battle between the safety mandate and the simple coachability of the law.
And the Springboks are caught right in the middle of it.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to Rugby Obsession wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we will look forward to you listening to our next episode.